yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.
Oh, good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Tuesday, February 11th. Spring training is here. Yes, Yankees baseball is back. The time of the year that we've all been waiting for is finally here. The Super Bowl is over. No more football conversations. I know the NBA is still going on, but we have been waiting for the NBA to be over. We have been waiting for the NFL to be over because there's one sport that we all love, and that sport is baseball. So Yankee fans, wake up, grab your coffee. Welcome back to your Tuesday episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. I'm going to bring up my guy, mi hermano de la isla. My guy Ghost is in the building. Ghost, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. Like I said, baseball is back. Baseball is here, and we are excited, Ghost. But besides that, how are you feeling this morning?
I feel great, man. I did see a couple clips today in the morning of the boys getting into spring training, especially a Garrett Cole, a Max Fried, and Austin Wells. I'm very happy. Baseball is back, baby.
What are you most excited for when it comes to right now, right? I know you just brought up Max Fried. We're excited. We was having a conversation yesterday. If you guys aren't following us on TikTok, make sure you guys follow us on TikTok. So we have great conversation over there. But you talked about Max Fried, right? What are your expectations for Max Fried, right? So start the conversation there. I just got to fix my microphone. Keep on killing it while I fix this mic. Go ahead, bro.
No, I definitely think with Max Fried, you expect him to be that second ace we need in case if anything happens with Cole, God forbid. Because we don't know what the situation is with Garrett Cole and how healthy he's coming into it. Because when I saw him today as well in media and coming into the training area, he was looking like he was healthy, and I'm happy about that. So I'm expecting Max Fried to be the ace we know and love that he was when he was in Atlanta, being dominant with his breaking ball pitches, his fastball pitches, and seeing how predominant he is, especially coming into it with this Yankee rotation. Having him there, having Cole, having Luis Gil, having Clark Schmidt, having Carlos Rodon there. We have a very predominant right-handed group, especially having those extra two left-handers in there. It's going to be very, very fun to see how Max Fried does this season, and I'm expecting nothing less but, a great season out of him this year as well.
Yeah. Like he was saying, expectations for Max Fried, I want to say are a little bit high, right? Being that second ace behind Garrett Cole, first year with the Yankees, Max Fried set everything right when it comes to his press conference. Yankee fans, be excited. But the one thing that Brian Cashman focused on this offseason, right? This offseason specifically, right? After losing Juan Soto, the pivot was pitching and defense, right? Because last year and for years past, our Yankee squad, our defense has been horrible, right? Gleyber Torres, one of the worst second basemen in all of baseball, right? And the list can go on and on. Aaron Hicks and his wafts out there in left field, right? There's a lot to compile. But seeing how Brian Cashman has pivoted this offseason, seeing that the focus was on starting pitching, was on the bullpen, and was on the defense, right? Our offense, we know we're going to score some runs because we got Aaron Judge, right? Hopefully Cody Bellinger could, have a bounce back year. He can stay healthy with the Yankees. We know this offense is going to score runs. We need to shore up our pitching. We need to shore up our defense because in the postseason, that stuff matters. Having solid defense behind you, it matters. Having solid pitching behind you, it matters. And we saw it manifest against the LA Dodgers. I know Yankee fans, we do not like bringing up that fifth inning of doom. But the reality is we gave up that game. And not only in that game in the fifth inning, but also in game one, right? There was some defensive plays in game one. If the Yankees would have made that move, if the Yankees would have just played solid defense, we probably would have never went into extra innings and would have lost on that Freddie Freeman walk-off. So there's a lot of things that went on this past season that we could point to and we could blame. We could blame this person. We could blame that person. But the one thing that Yankee fans, we could all agree on, our defense was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest defense in the world. And I think this time around, the defense has improved a lot more and the pitching has improved a lot more. The bullpen has improved a lot more. I think addressing the most important things we needed, especially having a stronger bullpen this time coming around, and having another ace to back up Cole. I mentioned this beforehand that we needed another starting pitcher. And a lot of people were blowing it off, saying it didn't make sense. But look at what happened. Our pitching didn't hold as long as what we thought. And Marcus Stroman wasn't panning out. And he ended up going into the bullpen role. And, having Carlos Rodon show up, having Luis Gil show up, and Clark Schmidt was showing up until he got hurt. And then as well with Garrett Cole, who was hurt through most of the season until he came back as well. And, we didn't know what version of him we were going to get every time he was on the mound. So having someone we can depend on as well, like a Max Fried, who can go those extra innings, those 7 to 8 innings if you have to go there, he is that guy that's very dependable. I'm not saying Garrett Cole isn't that guy either, because when he's healthy, he can go those extra lengths. And if Carlos Rodon, like he mentioned in a previous interview once free agency started happening, and he mentioned about his changeup, his breaking ball pitches that he's going to be more dependent on instead of being just a fastball slider pitcher, which are his most predominant pitches, his best pitches that he has. And seeing and hearing him talk about utilizing that changeup more is going to be a very big significance on how he's going to improve this year as well going forward. And I think that that's a big upgrade to him because he can really utilize a lot of his great changeups and including his other breaking ball pitches as well. And as you mentioned before with the defense, adding a Paul Goldschmidt, who's a Gold Glover, adding Cody Bellinger into the outfield as well. I know we're still figuring out our third base situation. We can discuss that later. But I think right now we've made significant improvements. In my personal opinion, that our defense has become a lot better, has improved a lot better. And I think that that's something that we got to give Brian Cashman his credit because he realized what the problems were and immediately addressed them in free agency.
Yeah, no, 100%. I got 100% agree with you on that, Ghost. Again, shout out to everybody who's in the building rocking out with us. We have over 100 people rocking out with us here on Yankees Morning Brew. If you guys can, please smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 5,000 subs on the channel. We're sitting at 4,815. So help us out when it comes to getting to 5K. I'm going to shout out the chat before we continue. Big time Jerry Cadill is in the building. Big time Jerry, how you doing? Hope all is well. Stefan C is in the building. Hope all is well, gentlemen. Good morning to you. Hope all is well. My guy CK is in the building. Shout out to Sunil in the building. Jose Medina is in the building. My guy Anthony Medina, mi hermano de la Isla, Anthony. I can't wait to see Anthony at the stadium. I'll be there opening day working media for Latino sports. And so if I know you're going to be there because Pete's having his watch party. So I'll run into you. And shout out to my guy. And shout out to Udo Yosef, who was in the building as well. Tina is in the building. Good morning, Tina. Seston is in the building. Shout out to Seston. Appreciate you for tuning in. Eddie Snaps is in the building. Can't forget my brother TC Stills. Shout out to TC Stills. We got Stephen B, who was in the building. Jacob Petruzzi is in the building. Shout out my guy Jacob. Norman Soto is in the building. Like I said, we got over 120 people rocking out with us. If you guys can, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. David Elias says, I know this is going to sound contrary to the fandom, but I am so happy that the Yankees pivoted hard after losing Soto. So many great additions. This rotation and bullpen is the best in the AL. Also, hello, David. Hello to you. Shout out to you. Good morning. And we did sign another lefty last night. We was with the Braves. Solid guy, solid arm coming out the bullpen. It's to a minor league deal. Also, when you look at his numbers, to be able to sign him for that cheap, I forgot how to pronounce the name, but it was a nice signing. We got Tim Hill as well. So this bullpen, our starting rotation, knock on wood, if this rotation is healthy, this rotation has the potential of being one of the best rotations in all of Major League Baseball. And I'm gonna start at the top. We got Garrett Cole as your number 1. Then you got Max Fried as your number 2. You got Carlos Rodon as your number 3. You have Luis Gil, who won the AL Rookie of the Year last year as a starting pitcher. He's going to be your 4th starter. Then you got Clark Smith as your 5th starter. And then you got Marcus Stroman on the outside looking in when it comes to the starting rotation. And to me, that is a solid 1 through 5. And when it comes to Stroman, I know we're going to have that conversation. So I want to bring up the graphic right now. When it comes to Marcus Stroman, my guy Joey Randazzo, he put it out there on Twitter. The Yankees should keep Marcus Stroman. It feels sacrilege to dump innings just because the owner set his own salary cap. With the price of pitching, the market has dictated that innings are as much of a precious commodity. Stroman may not be the middle of the rotation anchor that they hope, but they're one injury away from the rotation having Will Warren a part of it, right? And that's the part that I want to focus on, that last part when it comes to the health of the starting rotation, because he is right. We are one injury away of if we don't have Marcus Stroman, we got to go to our minor league guys. We got to go to our depth. We got to go to the Will Warrens of the world, right? And I'm not sure if Brian Cashman, from the sample size we saw from Will Warren last year, Brian Cashman is comfortable with going to Will Warren and a break to break the glass in a break the glass scenario. If you understand what I'm saying, Go Switch. What's your thoughts on that, bro? Before we continue.
I definitely don't know what version of Marcus Stroman we're going to get, because we were so dependent on him last year, and seeing how he performed throughout the beginning of the season and how he was doing, and then having his fall from grace as well, kind of hurt the Yankees in the rotation because they needed him so much and they expected so much of him. And seeing where he went down into the bullpen, even into the World Series, or more or less into the playoffs, I don't know what I'm gonna expect out of Marcus Stroman right now. And I agree with you, Hector. Having another pitcher is never a bad thing, especially a starting pitcher you can probably get when needed. Having Will Warren there, having a few other extra arms in the minor leagues we can get to, we can definitely utilize that. And having a veteran like Marcus Stroman makes sense. But at the same time, what version of him are we going to get this time around? And seeing how well we're expecting of him, is he going to have that same start from 2024 that he started off great, getting great strikeouts, getting ground balls, getting double plays, getting the things we needed of him, and expecting to see the same result this year? I don't know. But again, if having him here makes sense, I'm okay with it, because pitching is never underutilized here, because we could always use more pitching. But at the same time, it's like, what can I expect of him this year that I expected of him last year that I just didn't get? You have yourself muted,
I was gonna say, sorry about that. And again, a lot of question marks. There are a lot of question marks when it comes to our roster, right? The same way how I point out how the Dodgers, shout out to my guy Gabe, who's watching me on TikTok, just how I point out how the Dodgers, they have question marks when it comes to their starting rotation. How is Yamamoto going to do in year 2? What is Roki going to be like in year 1? How is Shohei Ohtani going to pitch after having his second Tommy John surgery, when there's only a handful of pitchers who've been able to pitch after having that type of surgery? So there's a lot of question marks that the Dodgers have, the same way how the Yankees have a lot of question marks. Question mark number 1, how is Garrett Cole going to bounce back after having his first season that he was injured, right? What are we going to do when it comes to third base? Are we really going to go out there and trot out DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera? Because I love Oswaldo. You know that, Ghost. Oswaldo know that. Yankee fans know that. I'm a big fan of Oswaldo Cabrera. And I know everybody in the chat is a big fan of Oswaldo. But we have to ask ourselves, do we trust Oswaldo Cabrera to be our third baseman in 161 game season, right? Do you trust that, right? Shout out to my guy Jake from the Bronx Zoo, because I got to believe Jake. I feel confidence when it comes to Oswaldo. He has the ability to be an everyday player or everyday contributor in any lineup that's out there in Major League Baseball. But the thing is, do we feel comfortable if we're trying to go back to the World Series with him being our third baseman? And that's something that Brian Cashman has to figure out, because when you look at our third base situation, Meredith from Morakovich, she was on MLB Hot Stove, and shout out to Fireside Yankees for putting this out there. This is what she said. When it comes to third base, it's going to be DJ LeMahieu, Oswaldo Cabrera that are in the mix there. But something tells me that Brian Cashman is still waiting. I wouldn't be surprised if they find themselves somebody before opening day. And that's the last part right there. Find themselves somebody before opening day. Normally, when you hear somebody a part of the Yankees, whether it's Jack Curry, whether it's Michael Kay, if they say something like that, that has to let you know that there's something there. Something is there. Something is cooking, right? When I was at the Pinstripe Pride event, shout out to Hall of Fame Signings for putting that together last weekend. But when I was there, we was joking around with Brian Cashman, and I asked Cashman, I was like, what about Nolan Arenado? And he looked at me and Jake from the Bronx Zoo. He said, you know what, you got something going on right there, right? So you never know, right? Is Brian Cashman foreshadowing that he's going to trade for Nolan Arenado? No, I don't know. But when it comes to third base, even if the Yankees were to start the season with DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera trying to figure out who's going to be the third baseman, even if that's how the season starts, I guarantee you, at the trade deadline, Brian Cashman will make a move to improve this team. We went into spring training last year with DJ LeMahieu as an option, and he got injured. And what happened? The Yankees pivoted, and we went out there and traded for John Birdie. Even though John Birdie got injured, they still did something. They didn't just sit on their hands and go into the season with that, Ghost.
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned before about Cabrera and Peraza, and then, of course, DJ. Do I trust Cabrera at third? Absolutely, because he has been one of those versatile players that has been utilized very well at first and at third. At any given moment, whenever we needed him and someone got hurt, he stepped up and he did the best that he could at his position, whether it was at third or sometimes at first. So I definitely do trust Cabrera. If they stick to it internally and they just go with Cabrera or Peraza or maybe even DJ, because obviously they're paying him a lot of money, so they have to utilize him somehow. But I think he'd be the last option in the conversation because I think it's going to be between Peraza and, of course, Cabrera at third base. Now, you mentioned Arenado. Now, I think I remember having that conversation with you before as to his price, because when they were trying to get him the first time, they were trying to offer him the St. Louis Cardinals Marcus Stroman, but they didn't want that. And then on top of that, there were other teams interested in getting him, but nothing panned out. And then again, conversations started coming back up around with Boston. I think Chicago's not in it anymore. If I'm wrong, please correct me, Hector. And I think the Yankees and them had a conversation as well. So they reopened conversations again. But again, what exactly is St. Louis really needing from the Yankees or from Boston or from any other team to kind of get this man to come over? But again, if Brian Cashman can make something happen and they can get Nolan, then by all means, because having a great defensive third baseman is huge, and that'd be a big upgrade from DJ LeMahieu. But again, it really just comes down to how high is the asking price for him now, or how low is the asking price coming into it again with the second conversation coming around. But obviously, what is it going to take to really see who are we going to really utilize? Is it going to be Cabrera? Is it going to be Peraza? Or at some point, are the Yankees just going to trade for Nolan and call it a day and figure out that third base problem very easily by bringing him up? Or are we going to stick into this limbo until we realize who's going to be the guy that's going to be competing the hardest to be that our third baseman, whether it be Peraza or Cabrera?
Shout out to my guy Froggy checking in. My guy Froggy is in the building. Shout out to you, Froggy. No, 100%. And I want to just point out some chats before we continue. My guy Joel at Consigliere says, look how well Cabrera did when he started regularly in 2024 as a third baseman. He hit off the charts. His batting average dropped when he went back to his bench role. That is a solid point right there. But Anthony Medina, he brought up a great point. And this is something that you and I, we've talked about. Oswaldo Cabrera is not an everyday player. He's a super utility player off the bench, and you lose his versatility if you make him a starter. And that's something that I've been saying. Oswaldo, his best ability is the fact that he could play multiple positions. You could put him in late game for defensive substitution and not have to worry that he cannot play that position, whatever position, whether it's third base, first base, second base, or even shortstop when it comes to making the average major league play. If you take Oswaldo Cabrera and you shove Oswaldo Cabrera and make him an everyday player and just stick him at one position, you lose what makes Oswaldo Cabrera so special. And that's his versatility. And that's the ability in late game situations. If you need to have a pinch runner for a Nolan Arenado, right, you can have a pinch runner and know that you could go to Oswaldo Cabrera defensively. And yes, there will be a drop off, but it won't be that much of a drop off when it comes to Oswaldo's ability to make the average play at the major league level, right? Sometimes maybe he gets outmatched, and sometimes the defensive moment is a little bit too big for him. But 9 times out of 10, Oswaldo Cabrera is going to make you to play, whether it's at third base, whether it's at second base, first base, hell, whether it's in the outfield. Oswaldo Cabrera will get the job done. We got over 200 people rocking out with us. If you guys can, please smack that like button and hit that subscribe button. On YouTube, we're sitting at 70 people watching us on YouTube, and we're on 23 likes. Guys, smack that like button. Let's get the likes up. Let's try to get over 50 likes on the stream so we can get more Yankee fans into the conversation. And it's just to let you guys know, next week, Thursday, I will be in spring training. So from February 20th through February 27th, I will be down in Tampa covering the Yankees. I'm going to like 4 Yankee games, 3 of them at George M. Steinbrenner Field, 1 of them in Dunedin with the Toronto Blue Jays. So I'll be down there. Make sure you guys are following me on all social media platforms. Follow me on TikTok. follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. All the links are in the description down below so you guys can be up to date when it comes to this Yankee content that we'll be giving you, right? Me and Ghost, we're going to be cooking up some good stuff. Grace will be back this Thursday. Damien will be back as well. I'll be linking up with Damien when I'm down there in Florida. So let's continue to vibe. Smack that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Shout out to my guy Taco, who's in the building. Froggy, what it do? Salute to Froggy. But let's continue the conversation, right? Let's go back to Noland Arenado. And my guy Matthew on Twitter, he put this perfectly. Noland Arenado is the best option for the New York Yankees right now. Is Noland Arenado better than whatever the Yankees have currently right now? The time to win is now. The team can't afford to waste Judge and Cole primetime years. One World Series in the last 24 seasons and none since 2009. And right there, right, we've been to one World Series since 2009, right? We've been to 2 World Series over the past 24 years. When it comes to our team, when you look at Noland Arenado, he is the best fit for our third base situation. He plays solid Gold Glove. That's the philosophy that Brian Cashman wanted to preach this offseason. And then on top of it, when you look at it, Noland Arenado last year, he was a 274 hitter. A 274 hitter. If he was on the Yankees last year, he would have had the third best batting average behind Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Why are the Yankees not pulling the trigger when it comes to Noland Arenado, Ghost?
I think it's probably St. Louis's asking price. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's just that the Yankees are being cheap and they don't want to give up whatever they're asking for. I don't know. Again, I think the situation here is really what can be worked around because he has a big contract in front of him, right? And, he has a lot of salary that they want to dump onto the Yankees. And I think the Yankees are wanting them to eat up some of that contract. And I think it makes sense. But if you can offer up some things to the St. Louis Cardinals and whatever they're in need of, work some things around. I think in all honesty, Hector, I think what's really stopping this trade is the money. I think that's what's stopping it. I think it's the money and they know it. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're trying to trade Stroman and nobody's biting. And I think even at one point, they even mentioned they would even pay a team to take him. So that's how in need of the money I guess they're in need of. I don't know why the situation is like that, but that's just what it is. And I think it's really what's holding it down. It's just the money. So if that's the case, I would just tell the Yankees or Brian Cashman to just say, screw it. Because if we're winning right now, we got to win right now. And he's the option we need for that to be the case. And why are we wasting time having a conversation about it? Why not just get the man? And I think that's really what's really stopping this is the money.
Yeah. Over 70 people on YouTube. We're sitting at 35 likes. If you guys can, please smack that like button. But I want to ask you, folks in the chat, let me know as well. TC still says with Arenado at third base, that defense is locked down and the pitching will keep us all in the games. Offense won't need to score a ton of runs. TC, absolutely. And when you look at Noland Arenado, I know this upcoming season, right? I know, you brought up the money. This upcoming season, Noland Arenado is making $21 million. Right. The following year, it goes down to 16 million. The year after that, it goes down to 15 million. Right. So essentially, you're paying 21 million this year for Noland Arenado. But then the last 2 years on his contract, you're basically paying the same amount of money you're paying for DJ LeMahieu. Why not pull the trigger? I know you want to get off of the Marcus Stroman contract. And I want to ask you, Ghost, do you think the money hold up? It's on the Yankee side of things, or is it on the Cardinal side of things? Like, which side do you think is holding up the money? Because from the reports that we're hearing, Brian Cashman is trying everything he can to trade Marcus Stroman. So to me, it seems that St. Louis is holding it up because they don't want to pay Marcus Stroman all that money. Yeah,
I think it could be either one, but I think it's really just the Yankees trying to get rid of that $18 million that they owe Stroman. Maybe they're trying to get that away out of them, so that they can use that utilized money to have that for Noland Arenado. Maybe that's what it's holding it up. I think whatever the situation is between the two, I think it is between, St. Louis wanting whatever it is they want, and also the Yankees having to get rid of that money to probably have that in for, Noland Arenado when he's coming over, so that they can at least pay him this year's contract and then the rest of the year of contract that he has left.
Yeah. But there's some good rumors, right? Because shout out my guy Spinning Mantis in the building. Stroman to Miami. Hopefully, the Miami Marlins, they have emerged as a team also that have called the Yankees about Marcus Stroman, right? So if the Yankees are having a hard time trading Marcus Stroman to the St. Louis Cardinals, maybe there's a way that the Yankees get the Miami Marlins involved. You could send Marcus Stroman over to Miami, clear that money, and then it opens up your book so you could trade for Nolan Arenado. It's just I do not see the Yankees going into the season with just DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera being out third base options. The same way how Brian Cashman fed us all the lie that Caleb Durbin was going to be the second baseman, like going into spring training. He's going to have every chance to win that job. Yankee fans lost their minds. And I think sometimes the Yankees, they throw stuff out there just to test the water, to see how the fan base is going to react before making a move, right? And I think with the Yankees going out there, Aaron Boone first saying DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo, and now Meredith Marakovitz coming out saying Oswaldo and DJ. I think the Yankees did that just to test the waters, to see how the fan base is going to react. And from the Twitter responses, the fan base is not happy with just DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera possibly being the third base option. You could throw in Peraza in there as well. Yankee fans forgot we got Peraza still on this roster, but Yankee fans aren't happy with DJ, Oswaldo, and Peraza being the third base options.
Yeah, I think, shout outs to Brian Cashman for upping up Caleb Durbin, because if he hadn't have done that, we would have never gotten one of the best closers in the game right now in Devin Williams. You know what I mean? So, kudos to him for doing that, because now we have a monster in Devin Williams, and now we have a Luke Weaver backing him up. Who's really stopping that, really? In reality, there's really no one that's going to stop those two guys. So shout outs to him on that part. But absolutely, Hector, I think really you want to upscale, you want to upsell some of these guys so you can get what you can for their value, right? And I think that that's a smart thing you have to do in order to get what you need from other teams, whether it be an infielder, a pitcher, or a relief pitcher, or whatever is in need of right now. And I think seeing them mention DJ LeMahieu, mentioning Cabrera as the option, and you said it yourself, Yankee fans weren't happy because they want a solidified third baseman that can be that lockdown defensive third baseman. And if we bring in Arenado into this defense, that's going to be a very lockdown defense, because that's what we had failed in the World Series, was our defense, and a lot of errors passing by a lot of our players that were playing in our infield. And now seeing that upgrade at second base with Jazz taking over and having Arenado playing at third and having Paul Goldschmidt playing first, that's a lot of defensive help that we needed desperately. Just to have that upgrade there on that side is huge. So I think that would be a surplus for us. Now, the offense, again, I don't have a magic ball anywhere to know what the offense is going to look like this year until we see them on the field and how they produce, right? But we already know that our defense is solid. That's guaranteed. We already know that, seeing off of who we're going to get and who's already there, and if we get Arenado as well. So the only question marks I really have is, how well is the offense going to do? How well is that chemistry going to be? How well is that offense going to flow? How quickly is that offense going to produce runs that we need in times when we need runs to score? That's the only question marks I have. On the defensive side, the pitching side, the bullpen side, I have no worries.
Yeah, and I got to agree with you. We know our team's going to hit. We know that. We know that this team, the offense, is going to show up. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. How is this defense going to look? How is this starting rotation going to look? How is the bullpen going to look, right? I know Devin Williams is the closer. You brought up Devin Williams, an all-star closer, probably one of the best closers in Major League Baseball. But when you look at Devin Williams, our closer. Then you got Luke Weaver, who is our setup man. Luke Weaver potentially could be the best setup man in all of Major League Baseball with his ability to pitch multiple innings. Luke Weaver is a guy that if it's a sticky situation in the 6th inning or in the 7th inning, I'm pretty sure Aaron Boone would feel comfortable going to Luke Weaver early in the game if the bases 100%. Are loaded and we only have a 1-run lead. So you could bridge the gap to Devin Williams. This is something that we heard when Mariano was around. You have to bridge the gap to Mariano. Now you got to bridge the gap to Devin Williams. And potentially the Yankees, when you look at what we have, of course, Luke Weaver, like I said, but the big one for me, how is Jonathan Loaisiga going to look? How is he going to look coming back from injury? And I know to start the season, he's going to be on the IL, so you don't expect Jonathan Loaisiga to be back until like the middle of the season, June, July. But Jonathan Loaisiga, that second half of the inning, second half of the season, if he could come back healthy, if he could come back dominant, That's a scary option to have coming out of the bullpen if he's coming out in the 6th inning. Because that's the thing. And when Jonathan Loáisiga comes back, you don't have to use him as a setup man. You don't have to use him late game situations. You could ease him back into that role, let him build up his confidence. So Jonathan Loáisiga could be a guy that you guys can see coming into the game in the 5th, in the 6th inning, depending on the situations. You got Ian Hamilton as well. You got Tim Hill, who was phenomenal for the Yankees coming out of the bullpen. We should have went to Tim Hill instead of Nestor Cortez, Booney.
Yeah,
but that's another conversation for another day. But when you look at our bullpen, this Yankee bullpen is reminiscent for when the Yankees had a lockdown bullpen, when we had Aroldis Chapman, when we had back in that 2017 Andrew Miller, when we had that lockdown bullpen. This is what this bullpen is starting to look like.
I definitely agree with you, Hector, that having those extra guys, including the Ian Hamiltons, the Tim Hills, and Jake Cousin, who was another huge bullpen guy that we depended on, came through a lot of the times we needed him. I think just having even those guys there and Loáisiga, if I can get 80% of Loáisiga healthy, or even the full 100 of Loáisiga healthy, that's huge, because he is a great bullpen guy that we can depend on, absolutely. And as well with Tim Hill, who a lot of what we saw from him in the beginning of the season wasn't the greatest things, but he came around and became a solid left-hander when we needed him, especially in the playoffs. He was huge for us. And then as well with Jake Cousins, as well when Hamilton came back from injury, he stepped up as well. So having a lot of the guys that we brought back, especially Tim Hill, who I definitely was happy we brought back, is huge. This bullpen right now, with the other additions, and then as well with Mark Latta Jr. being in there as well, and I think Cruz is another right-hander we have as well that's in there, is huge, right? And then having those guys in there and seeing what we have on the bullpen side, I'm very much impressed and happy with what we have right now. And having the guys that stepped up when we needed them to is even bigger, because that's going to solidify this bullpen instead of having to worry so much, and then having our starters take up more length so that they're not so overly exhausted throughout the season.
Yeah, and I forgot, and Stefan, I forgot to even think about Cousins. I forgot to think about Jake Cousins. Jake Cousins coming out of that bullpen with that slider was phenomenal. Shout out to David Elias with the $2 super chat, helping us keep the lights on over here. Uptown Sports TV, appreciate you, my guy. The New York Yankees most quality starts, holds, and saves for 2025. My guy, put that in the air. We all want that. I want to take a pause real quick because, like I said, last week, we didn't have no Yankees Morning Brew because I went to the Pinstripe Pride event. I got sick. I was sick as a dog last week, so that's why we didn't have no show. But I want to show you guys some videos from last week. It was pretty dope. Shout out to my guy Keith McPherson. I'm gonna reach out to Keith to be a guest on the show. But Keith had me be his video guy for that day. So I want to play the video. Tune in. We'll be right back.
If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. But this is Jersey, Pinstripe Pride. They got the Yankees here. Whole lot of gang. We pulled up wearing Yankees gear. F the Dodgers this year, it's the Yankees year. Yo, that's a wrap. Pinstripe Pride 2025. Out here with the fans, with the players. It's been fun. American Dream, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody that said what's up. Let's get ready for spring training and the season. Let's go Yanks.
Yeah, shout out my guy Keith. That was a dope time. Shout out to all the different Yankees alum that was there, past, present Yankees. Jason Dominguez was there signing autographs for fans. That was pretty dope. Was able to meet Jason Dominguez. Brian Cashman was there. Aaron Boone was there. Of course, Oswaldo, Devin Williams was there as well. So it was a great time. Make sure you guys, if you guys missed this one out, make sure you're there on the next one. Right, the next one for next year, it's going to be amazing. Shout out to Ruben Sierra. I was able to get an interview with Ruben Sierra as well. That's how I got sick, because Ruben Sierra was sick. But Bernie Williams was there as well. Be on the lookout too, because your boy was invited to attend the Bernie Williams Celebrity Softball game. So that will be going on June 14th. I will be over there covering it for Latino Sports. Who knows? Maybe I could convince them to let me play in the game. So just keep on the lookout for that. It's going to be good times. But back to the conversation, right? Talking about Jason Dominguez, let's have the conversation about the Martian, right? He's a center fielder. The Yankees are moving him to left field. We saw his defensive mistakes in left field last year, not used to playing that position. I feel with this offseason, he's worked on what he had to work with. There's videos of that's already come out of him and Spencer Jones patrolling the outfield for the New York Yankees. Spencer Jones wearing number 66, that's upside down 99. When it comes to Jason Dominguez, what are your expectations for him, Ghost? Folks in the chat, let us know as well. What should our realistic expectations be for the Martian?
I think right now it's put up or shut up, right? Because we have our expectations so high on Jason Dominguez to be that guy, to be that spark that this Yankee team needs. Losing Soto sucked. And I think reminding ourselves that we still have a Martian that's there, that's ready to go. And I think having him healthy this year, seeing him in the outfield and left field with Spencer Jones, getting those works in, getting his mindset right for that, getting his defense up on that side is huge. And I'm expecting a lot out of him because we're going to need him to step up big time. And I think he knows that and we know that. So I think that the question really is, what can we see out of him on a healthy year? Because last year he got hurt early into the season and we couldn't do much about that until he came back during the season and he didn't get much playing time because of Verdugo. So this time there's no excuses. This time there's nothing holding him back. So I'm expecting this man to go out there and just give it his all and go out there and get as many runs as he can possible. So I'm expecting a lot out of him, Hector, and I'm hoping that I'm right on that.
Yeah, David Elias with a $2 super chat. With another one, he says, F Soto, we got the Martian and Bellinger, buddy. Listen, this is one thing I'm going to say when it comes to Juan Soto, right? Juan Soto, you got your money. You got look at me. Look at me in the camera. You got your money. You got your dollars. There's no one thing. You have to play a series in Yankee Stadium. The Subway Series, it's going to happen when you play in Yankee Stadium. And we know Juan Soto, he likes to step up in big time situations. I could see Juan Soto in his first at bat back at Yankee Stadium hitting a home run, right? But you got your money. That's all cute. Well, guess what? Pitchers and catchers start today. Steve Cohen may have won the back page war when it comes to the newspaper, when it comes to the offseason. Steve Cohen may have won that. But you know what? I still trust Brian Cashman. I still trust my owner, Hal Steinbrenner. Yankee fans may not trust them. Well, guess what? I don't care. I trust them. And seeing the pivot that Brian Cashman made, the additions we have, right? When you look at Cody Bellinger last year, Cody Bellinger was a 250, 260 hitter last year. When you look at Paul Goldschmidt as well, the second half of the season was basically a 290 or 287 hitter, right? When you look at what the Yankees struggled with last season, we struggled hitting left-handed pitching. Paul Goldschmidt was a 300 hitter against left-handed pitching. That's something that is going to improve. There's no way that we can look at this roster, right? Even with the hole that we have at third base, even with that big-ass hole at third base, there's no way that Yankee fans could look at this roster presently constructed and say that the team that lost in the World Series is better than the roster that we have right now. I just don't see it. I think this roster is a way better roster presently constructed that what we have right now than what we had ending the World Series. That's just me. I may be biased. I got my Yankee fan goggles on. What's your thoughts on that, Ghost?
I definitely think we've improved immensely on the defensive side. It's one of the biggest things we were most concerned with coming into the next season, and I think we made improvements on that. And I think that that's one of the things I am happy with Brian Cashman. And adding to the starting rotation was another big step because I said this before, and I kept preaching it all year last year. We needed another ace. And the Yankees made that very clear in getting Max Fried, and I was very happy because pitching is what you need to have those long innings, those very long, consistent innings so that the bullpen doesn't get exhausted. And then as well with the upgrades in the bullpen as well. And I think as it stands right now, I 100% agree the defense has improved immensely. The bullpen has improved immensely. The starting pitching has improved immensely. So I definitely agree. The Yankees look a lot better now than they did last year defensively. And as I said before, on the offense, yeah, they're going to get some hits. They're going to get some runs going. But we need to see that consistency going on through the beginning and to the end of the season. Yeah,
folks, again, over 210 people watching us right now. close to 70 people on YouTube. If you guys can, please smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. On YouTube, we're sitting at 41 likes on the stream. So if you guys can, please smack that like button. And shout out to my guy, the Ace Av in the building. I'll be on live later on with Ace at 6 p.m. on his channel. We're talking Yankee spring training. Pitchers and catchers are here. So shout out to my guy, Ace. I look forward to that conversation later on tonight. David Elias says, Goldsmith is a proven gold glove. Right, is a proven glove and presence. Couple him with Arenado on the other end, with Volpe and Jazz in the middle. Oh my God, we're so OP, right? And I think a lot of Yankee fans, they're sleeping on Jazz Chisholm, right? For me, I think this is the perfect place for Jazz Chisholm to be under the radar. Not that much expectations on Jazz Chisholm. When you look at Jazz Chisholm, his best ability is his speed. His best ability is the way that he carries himself, his swagger, because his swagger is very infectious, right? Other people could start feeling that from Jazz Chisholm, right? So when it comes to it, I think Jazz Chisholm, he's at the perfect place. He's flying under the radar. There's not a lot of expectations or pressure on Jazz Chisholm to me coming into this spring training. The only pressure that I would say is that I assume that Jazz Chisholm will be the leadoff hitter. When you look at it, we've talked about it. I think Jazz Chisholm will lead it off. You got Aaron Judge as your 2-hole hitter, Cody Bellinger as your 3-hole hitter, Giancarlo Stanton cleaning it up. Paul Goldsmith is your 5-hole hitter. Then you got Austin Wells being your 6th hitter. You got Anthony Volpe as your 7th hitter. Then you got DJ and Oswaldo as your 8th hitter. And then the Martian as your 9th hitter. So when the lineup flips around and comes back that second time, Jason Dominguez is your second tier leadoff guy. So you can have Jason Dominguez, Jazz Chisholm, and then Aaron Judge in that second time through the lineup. I think that's a solid 1 through 9. And that's without Nolan Arenado. If we had Nolan Arenado, you just move Austin Wells down and you put Nolan Arenado right there. What's your thoughts?
No, I definitely agree. I mean, seeing that lineup constructed even without Arenado is much better, right? And I think even adding him into that is going to be a massive improvement. But there is something that I'm looking forward to and seeing this year, and right. I think it's Anthony Volpe. I think Anthony Volpe is going to be that guy that I'm expecting to see an explosive season this year. I know last season wasn't his greatest, but he did his best on the defensive side, which I applaud him for. But I think Anthony Volpe is going to come out swinging this year as well with Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells. Those are the 3 guys that I think I'm most looking forward to. And I think if those guys can show up when the Yankees need them the most, I think we're going to have an answer to a lot of the problems that we've been needing, especially with the offense. Seeing the 3 youngest guys there coming in clutch and helping us when we need them the most is going to be huge. And now you mentioned Jazz Chisholm as well. I think Jazz is a guy that's going to be very much so in the best position looking forward into this team being the leadoff guy. And I think once he gets on base, you can't really stop him either because he's so fast and he steals bases just as quickly as he could get him on the bases. So that's going to be huge. And that's going to complement a lot of our speedy players like an Anthony Volpe and a Jason Dominguez as well. So that's going to be very huge on our part to get those runs scoring in. So I'm expecting a lot out of these guys, especially our 3 youngest guys that we have. So I'm hoping to see that improvement, that explosive offense coming off of those guys, because I think the Yankees need that most right now, especially with the loss of what happened with Soto. But again, I think right now as it stands, those are the 3 guys that I'm looking most forward to, including seeing this offense explode this season, hopefully throughout the beginning and the end of the season.
For me, when it comes to Volpe, shout out to my guy Lou, who's in the chat as well, who says Volpe is a dud. For me, when it comes to Volpe, we saw the improvement from his rookie year to his sophomore year, right? We saw that drastic improvement starting the season. He was phenomenal. Then, fell off the track a little bit, but we saw that he worked on what he needed to work with, right? I think Anthony Volpe having success in the World Series, hitting a grand slam in the World Series, having some plays go his way in the World Series, I think that confidence booster, it's going to help Anthony Volpe and his 3rd year in the major leagues. Now, is Anthony Volpe going to be an all-star? I'm not saying that. I think any Yankee fan that put that expectation on him is a bit of a fool. Do I think Anthony Volpe will be a Hall of Famer? No, I don't. I think Anthony Volpe has the chance to be a very solid major league player. Will he be this superstar that some people think he is? No, I don't. I think you should take that and remove that expectation. Anthony Volpe has the ability to be a solid major league player. Let him develop and let him earn his stripes. A lot of things that went wrong for Anthony Volpe is because a lot of people kept labeling him the next Derek Jeter, the next Yankee great, the next this, that, and the third. And I think that's unfair pressure, not only to put on Anthony Volpe, but to put on Jason Dominguez and to put on Spencer Jones. So having people saying that Spencer Jones is the next Aaron Judge, that's too much pressure to put on these young kids, right? Prospects, they're just a lottery ticket. You hope you have the golden one. You hope you have the one that hits. That's the one thing we have to worry or just keep in mind when it comes to prospects. Let them be themselves. Do not put pressure on these prospects. Look at Joe Adell with the LA Angels, right? With the Anaheim Angels, whatever you want to call them. Joe Adell, when he was in the minor league system, he's the next Mike Trout. This is the next Mike Trout. What happened? He came up during the COVID season. He got embarrassed because some plays went the wrong way. And now Joe Adell looks like a shell of himself. Just let these prospects develop. Stop labeling them the next this, that, and the third. We have people talking about how Jason Dominguez is the next Mickey Mantle. He's the next Bo Jackson. Just let these players develop. Yes, I blame the Yankees. I blame the Yankees organization for hyping them up. Absolutely, Medina. What's your thoughts, Ghost?
No, I agree. I think you even said it yourself one time as well. I don't need Spencer Jones being Aaron Judge. I need Spencer Jones being Spencer Jones. Yes. And same with Jason Dominguez, same with Anthony Volpe. We set our expectations so high of these guys that they falter. Now, I'm not saying that they can't be great players. I am not saying that. I'm not saying that they can't produce, they can't be great defensive players. I'm not saying any of that. But you are setting them up too high for failure so early into the season. Now, I think if these guys can develop and can become the players we need them to be, I think we're going to have some winners, especially with Spencer Jones. Now, again, I don't know when Spencer Jones is going to get called up. I know it's not going to be anytime soon, but at some point he will get his chance to come up and be the guy that we need him to be in the outfield, to have him there and to see how he develops there, as well as how Jason Dominguez is going to have his chance this year, a full year of healthy Jason Dominguez, to see what he can do. I mean, as you mentioned with Volpe as well, he is going to be a great player. Will he be this, that, and the other? I don't know. But I think a lot of times when we are setting our expectations so high of these players, they end up, like you just said, embarrassing themselves, making fools of themselves. So at times it's going to cause more harm than good. But at the same time, we weren't always as dependent on our farm like we are in the past few years we have been now. Because before, we would just not care about who was on our farm system. We would just trade them away for a superstar and we solve our problems. But this isn't the same Yankees of old. This isn't the same Yankees of like 2007, 2008, or 2009. We are a different regime. Now we're more utilizing of our farm system than we were in the past few years. And that's a good thing, because at the same time, it's good to value the players we have in our farm system because they can develop well and they can become the great players we need them to be. But if we're so focused on getting rid of them so early into the season, we're already not caring about their value, because if we send them somewhere else and they become great, it becomes our fault and we have egg on our face because we got rid of a great player without really utilizing that value into the season. And I think that's where a lot of times Yankee fans get very angry with the ownership group or even the GMs when they trade him away. And then they go, wait a minute, why'd you trade him away? Look at how he's doing now. But then you complain later that we're overhyping him up and we're becoming too legitimate with him and saying he's going to be great, this, and the other. You know what I mean? So there's no two ways around it.
Yeah. Facts. Folks, again, we got over 230 people rocking out with us this morning. We got over 70 on YouTube watching us. We're sitting at 48 likes. If you guys can, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate the donations, appreciate the super chats. Like I said, I will be down at Yankee spring training next week starting February 20th through the 27th. If you guys want to help us out, please donate to the PayPal. I got my PayPal link down there as well. You could just go Hector Beauchamp like it is on the screen. Help us out because spring training is a bit pricey. I'm out there working for Latino Sports, but it will be a good time. I want to shout out folks in the chat. Sunil says, and Sunil, I haven't agreed with you in a long ass time, and I agree with you on this. Sunil says, let Anthony Volpe be the next great Yankee shortstop. Let the Martian be the next great Yankee left fielder, and let Peraza be the next great Yankee third baseman. Enough with the hype. Absolutely. Enough with the hype up game. I'm done with the hype up. Just let these players be themselves. My guy TC still, I think TC put it in the chat. We don't need a team of stars. We just need everyone to do their job. Just do your job. We don't need to have a lineup from 1 through 9 with guys that hit 30 home runs and have over 100 RBIs. No, we need guys just to do their job. Look at the 2006 Yankees, right? When Matsui got injured and Sheffield got injured, we went out there, we traded for Bobby Abreu, and then in September, we had probably one of the deepest lineups in baseball. It didn't work out in the postseason. We got destroyed. They tried Gary Sheffield at first base that year. That was a horrible year. If you guys remember, if you know, you know. Shout out to my guy Mikey P in the chat. It's the Jaden Daniels / Pat Mahomes etc. issue. It's all about the situation they are in. Great on their teams, but maybe would have floundered or the Jets or the Giants. Yeah, I agree, Mike. It's all about situation. Wherever the player is at, that's where they're going to thrive, right? That's like some people who say that if Derek Jeter, if he spent his whole career with the Kansas City Royals, nobody would be looking for Derek Jeter. Are you out of your mind? That argument is so stupid when I hear people say that. Derek Jeter, he had over 3,000 hits. So you're going to tell me that if there was a shortstop on the Kansas City Royals who played his whole career, was an all-star, had over 3,000 hits, nobody would think that he's great? Like, I wonder when people wake up and have these brain dead sports take, do they actually think it through before opening their mouth? How many of y'all heard that same argument that if Derek Jeter was on the Kansas City Royals, he would have never been that great? No, he probably would have not have been that popular. But for people to say that Derek Jeter, if he was on the Cleveland Guardians, the Kansas City Royals, the San Diego Padres, a shortstop with over 3,000 hits, he wouldn't be popular, you're looking like a fool. You're looking like an asshat. Go ahead, Ghost.
No. I definitely agree. And, Jeter, wherever he went, I think nobody would have known how well he would have done. But I think he would have been a star nonetheless, because look at how he produced with us and look at how a great a career he had. And I think for most of us, when you look at a player, you're looking at this player to be, a great player, right? We're not expecting him to be a bust, right? We're not expecting him to fail off rip when he comes up onto this team. And I think that's where a lot of times you have to either put your faith on him to be great and solidify himself as a great player. And, not everything at times works, but sometimes it takes a little time for that player to get through. And when it does, it works out for both sides. And I think a lot of times with fans, they get impatient, especially with rookies as well, because not a lot of them can be the next Bobby Witt Jr. Not a lot of them can be the next Paul Skeens. You know what I mean? Things take time. And I think that's where a lot of times Yankee fans, or any fans in particular, have to be patient.
My guy Jose Medina, shout out to Medina. He says the problem is organizations, they have people that put their big ass foot in their mouth regularly. Cashman / Howe, and a big part of the fan base that doesn't know baseball as well. Jose Medina, you hit that right on the head. I got to give you a gunshot for that. Shout out my guy Jose Medina for that one. Look, Mikey P says Bobby Witt is a great player, and everybody knows it, and he plays on the Royals. Yes, absolutely. So this argument, Derek Jeter was on another team, nobody would care about him. It's ludicrous. It is insane. But I've seen a lot of Met fans make that take, and you know what? Met fans, they're having their parade right now. But I got some footage. We got some footage this morning of the Yankees pitchers and catchers. I just want to play this on screen because, oh my God, this looks beautiful. You got Garrett Cole walking by, right? Who else are we going to see here in this picture? We got Luke Weaver walking by. This is what I love to see. This is my favorite time. And Clark Smith, look at Clark Smith looking amazing. Look at that smile. You got Aaron Boone is in the building. A lot of Yankee fans don't care. Who else we got? Brian Cashman, everybody's favorite GM, is in the building. Shout out to Cash God. Who else is here? We got Carlos Rodon, the number 3 starter in the Yankees rotation. A lot of pressure taken off of Carlos this year. Max Fried. This is Ghost's pick to win the Cy Young this year, Max Fried. Yep. And then you got Devin Williams and Mark Leiter Jr. as well, walking in together. You got Chase Hampton walking in, Yankees prospect. Shout out to Chase Hampton. You got Luis Hill walking in. Again, this is my favorite time of the year. Yankees baseball is back. Jonathan Loáisiga is back. Johnny Lasagna is back. Jake Cousins is back. Yankee fans, baseball is back. We are here. We are back. We've been waiting for this. Ghost, we've been waiting for this ever since the last out in the World Series. We have been waiting for this. We have been on different Twitter spaces. We are on Twitter space no more. We're on different TikTok lives. We're on different YouTube shows. We're having different group chats and group conversations. And we have been waiting for this ever since the last out of the World Series. How good does it feel to have this back?
Oh my God. Just getting to see new players coming in, like the Max Fried, like the Paul Goldschmidts, like the Cody Bellingers, is incredible. And obviously seeing my favorite players in Garrett Cole, the Carlos Rodons, the Clark Schmidts, and everyone else included, like the Anthony Volpes, the Austin Wells, everyone that's coming in. I know it's going to be a sensational season. I've given Carlos Rodon so many nicknames since the start of the season to the end of the season. I called him the Don Perignon, the Don, and the Don Los, the Los man. I'm so happy to see him healthy and ready to go. He's my favorite pitcher in that rotation, and I can't wait to see him dominate again this year. And it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for baseball to be back, man. I'm beyond happy.
Yes. Mark Gates says, we are so back. Yes, we are so back. And this is why I like this music right here, because this music lets us know that baseball is back, Mark Gates. Appreciate you. Norman Soto, who says Juan Soto would never win a World Series in Queens. Goes, I had like a midlife crisis like a couple of weeks ago. I'm walking through the park, right? And I'm thinking about this Juan Soto thing. I'm putting my show notes together for the morning show, and it hit me. And we're about to feel old right now. We're about to feel, if you're my age, get ready to feel fucking old right now. When Juan Soto's contract in Queens is over, when he retires, I will be 50 fucking years old. That is depressing, bro. That's depressing for me to say, bro.
No, don't feel depressed, bro. That means you lived a great life, brother. That's how I look at it. Lived a great life.
Get ready to feel old, Yankee fans, because if you're my age, when Juan Soto's contract is done, we're about to start getting ready to cash our Social Security check if Social Security is still a thing. My guy Eddie said, damn, I'll be 55. And well, guess what, Eddie? You still look good for 55. Shout out to you. Sunil says, I'll be 67 when he retires. You ain't that old. Jose Medina says 50 is the new 38. Absolutely, my guy. 50 is the new 38. I got another video to play because I like this. I like this spring training feel. This is what the Yankees put out. I like this. This is what I like. I like this. Austin Wells, look at the bigote. Luke Weaver, Clark Smith. I like this. This is what I like to see. Yankees baseball is back. I don't know who that guy was, but I'm happy he's back too. Well, guess what, Medina, you still look good, baby. You still look good, baby. Froggy says, I'll be 35 and I already got back pain. Well, Froggy, you young bastard. I want to shout out my guy Jonathan, who's in the building. We're sitting on 55 likes, and we got a bunch of people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're sitting over 240 people rocking out with us this morning. And on YouTube, let me see how many likes we're at right now. We're on 55 likes, over 70 people watching us on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button. Let's try to run the likes to at least 60. Tina says, Medina, I will be 65. Well, guess what? You guys all look good for that golden 50, golden 65. Ghost, I want to just go over the non-roster invites that the Yankees have. Just a few names to mention. We got Sean Boyle, a right-handed pitcher, Colton Brewer, Carlos Carrasco's, Carlos Carrasco's, who fought cancer. Shout out to Carlos. You got Chase Hampton, Yankees prospect. You got Golf Harted, whatever his name is, Kristen Hernandez, Eric Lee, Brandon Liebernet, Labar Pestano. I should have practiced these names before reading them off screens. Eric Rizeman, Wilking Rodriguez, Cam Slitter, Kevin Stevens. You got a catchers, Rafael Flores, Alex Jacksons, Omar Martinez, infielders, Roger Arias, Judge Lombard Jr., Pablo Reyes, TJ Rumfield, former Met great Dominic Smith, Andrew Velasquez. Then you got Brandon Davis, Duke Ellis, Spencer Jones, and Ismael Munguao. For me, it's two names, position players. The first one being George Lombard Jr., and the second one being Spencer Jones. There's a lot of pressure on Spencer Jones this spring training. I know last spring training, he was good. He was hitting bombs against low A pitching, high double A pitching. He looked good in spring training, and then the injuries came. There's a lot of pressure on Spencer Jones. And a lot of people pointing out that the Yankees starting Jason Dominguez in left field is because the Yankees want to have Spencer Jones be their center fielder for the future. Or the Yankees shooting themselves in the foot, thinking about the future and not focusing on the now, because in the now, Jason Dominguez should be our starting center fielder with Cody Bellinger being in left field. What's your thoughts, Ghost? Folks in the chats, let us know as well.
I think in time, we'll see that transition happen. And I think in time, we'll see what happens with Cody Bellinger, because I think he has a player option that if he does great this season, I think the Yankees will pick it up. But that all depends on him. I definitely think it'll be in time, right? I think everything happens in time. Same with how Aaron Judge got called up to be, our next outfielder for the Yankees. So I think they're going to do the same thing with Spencer Jones. They're going to give him his time. And a lot of players you just mentioned that are getting invites, including the Lombards, including the Jones. Roderick Arias is probably one of the ones that I'm most interested in seeing. I know he's a young talent. He's got a lot of years in him. So I'm looking he's one of my favorite prospects that we have. And I was hoping and praying we never traded him, because he is so good and he's so versatile and he plays a lot of the infield we need. So I'm looking forward to seeing him kind of get some chances up into spring training and seeing how he does. And seeing all these other invites, including a lot of other arms, including a lot of other catchers, including a lot of infielders, is always awesome to see that. But like you said before, do you think there's a future for Spencer Jones in the center field position? Absolutely. I think everything will happen in time, because once in the next year or two, I think we're going to see Spencer Jones up in the lineup. So I think it'll happen sooner rather than later.
Yes, folks. I just dropped the TikTok link in the chat. Guys, make sure you guys follow us over there on TikTok. We have great conversations. The TikTok lives be hilarious. My guy Chris K with the $5 super chat, helping us keep the lights on over here. I got to give him the Taco Bell bell. You feel me? Hot take. I want Cody Bellinger to be the leadoff hitter. He has experience at the leadoff spot. He gets doubles, and he is capable of 20 stolen bases. You know what, CK? That's a hot take. Oh my God! Ghost, what's your thoughts on CK's hot take with Cody Bellinger being a leadoff hitter?
I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be nice to see if we can do that. But seeing as how we have a Jazz Chisholm there right now, I don't think it's necessary right now. But it is cool to know that we have someone that can be a leadoff hitter in case if Jazz doesn't really, be that guy that we need him to be, which I know he will. But yeah, it's cool. I think it's awesome in case if we need to switch him around. I don't see that as an issue.
It's a good fallback plan, like my guy David Elias says. It's a good fallback plan. Shout out to my guy John, NY Street Pinstripe. He says, "Yo, I'm on live on TikTok, watching it live. Yo, John, my brother. I hope all is well, guys. Make sure you guys go and follow John." NYC Pinstripe Club, dope Yankee content creator, dope individual. I ran into him and met him on TikTok. Him and the entire Yankee fans on TikTok, they have been awesome, welcoming me, Ghost, and Future as well into the conversations. It's great. CK was on with us last night as well. So please make sure you guys follow us on TikTok. The link is in the description. Is in the comment section. Click the link. Follow us over there on TikTok. Give us a follow. My guy Jay Boogie is in the building. He says, after the 50 approach of life, you appreciate the living more better each and every time. Your eyelids unattached. The blessings are major. Salute. 3 capital S's. Jay Boogie. Hope all is well. That's my guy, Jay Boogie. Love Jay Boogie, 100%. That's my guy. Carl says, Bellinger bats like 190 from the leadoff spot. I got to look up those numbers because it's a good backup plan, right? It's not something that I'm in love with, right? I don't want to just have Cody Bellinger be the leadoff hitter because I do think we need to have Aaron Judge have some type of protection. And I think Cody Bellinger behind Aaron Judge is protection. And it just makes sense to put Aaron Judge back in his natural two-hole. That's where the Yankees like him. That's where the analytics like to put him. Put him in the two-hole spot. You get way better pitches for Jazz Chisholm to hit with him hitting in front of Aaron Judge. He'll see way more fastballs. So, listen, trust the process. Aaron Judge is a 2-hole hitter. Cody Bellinger is a 3-hole hitter. But I do like the backup plan of Cody Bellinger possibly leading off some games. I do like that. What you, Ghost?
No, absolutely. Having a backup plan is always a good thing. And I think having him there, being a leadoff guy that he can be, if he can produce to be a leadoff hitter, I'm okay with that. But I don't think, like I just said, we have Jazz Chisholm there, so I don't have to worry too much. And having someone that can back up Aaron Judge is a much bigger necessity than we have of him needing to be our leadoff guy right now.
Yeah. And it's a question that's going around. My guy Keith McPherson, he put it out there. And this is the last question I want to ask, right? And we kind of touched on it earlier, talking about this team being better than the team that ended the World Series. Hindsight is 50-50. It's easy for us Yankee fans now that we don't have Juan Soto to say what I'm going to say. But I definitely believe wholeheartedly that this team, presently constructed, it's better than we were with Juan Soto in the team. I know Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, the modern M&M boys, they were amazing. 2-3 spots in the lineup, back to back. But currently constructed, this roster, it's a better roster than the team that had Juan Soto. When you just think of this real quick. 2 guys that were in our starting lineup in the World Series have not signed yet. And we're right here at spring training. That's Anthony Rizzo and that's Alex Verdugo. 2 guys that were in our starting lineup in the World Series have yet to sign to a major league team. That goes to show you right there, we had 2 holes in our lineup.
Yeah.
Think of that. Think 2 of our glaring 2 guys that were big contributors in our lineup have yet to sign with a major league team going into spring training.
Yeah, but I don't think Doogie was as big of a problem as Rizzo was, right? And I think that Doogie did a lot more than a lot of people give him credit for. And, defensively, he helped out a lot, and he had his moments and the offensive production side of things. But with Rizzo, we knew his time was up at some point with the concussion that he had, and we knew at some point we needed to get another first baseman. I don't know if that was going to happen internally or we were going to pick up another player, which we did in Paul Goldschmidt. So I definitely think seeing those 2 guys out there, it sucks because I never want to see anybody, especially who's a Yankee, who was a former Yankee, especially a guy like Rizzo who was liked so much by everybody. And even when he was with Chicago as well, he was liked by all. To see him out there as a free agent. And Doogie is pretty young. He's only 27, 28 years old. He's not that old. So it sucks to see him still out there when he's such a very versatile player as well. And seeing how well of a production he had out on the defensive side and the offensive side. So it's kind of crazy to see them both out there. But I don't think Rizzo's going to get signed. I think he may be realizing that he might just have to retire, which is going to suck. But I'm surprised that Doogie hasn't gotten signed yet. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, more Alex Verdugo than Anthony Rizzo. I'm more surprised at Alex Verdugo because of his age and his defensive metrics out there in the outfield. Yeah. He's still a solid defender. He can't hit. He can't. He gave little to nothing when it comes to his offense. But defensively, I thought Alex Verdugo would get signed at least by 1 team. Like there's 30 teams in Major League Baseball, and not 1 team has come knocking on his door to sign him. And we're literally right here at spring training. Pitchers and catchers are there. We just saw Yankees walking into George M. Steinbrenner Field. They're already doing the inter-squad games. They're doing all of that, and Alex Verdugo is still hasn't signed with a team. When it comes to Anthony Rizzo, his retirement tour. This is the Anthony Rizzo retirement tour. He needs to just re-sign with the Chicago Cubs and just go on his last hoorah. That's all Anthony Rizzo needs to do right now. And in this stage of his career, and it sucks to say it because he had a solid career, but Anthony Rizzo, it's not just Father Time. That concussion really sent Anthony Rizzo back some years. That concussion really hurt Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, it sucks, man, because everybody loved him. I loved Rizzo. He was such a versatile, guy. He was a great leader, and everybody loved him. And he was such a very kind person to all the players that were there. He was helping in any way that he could and giving them advice to a lot of the young players, including a Ben Rice who came up in there, and he had to replace him at the time when he got the concussion. I applaud Rizzo for what he did and helping out a young Ben Rice. I hope Ben Rice can get called back up because I love Ben Rice. I absolutely love that kid. And I think he has a great potential that I think he hasn't tapped into yet. And I think he'll get that chance as well. And I hope he gets that chance once Paul Goldschmidt leaves next year. So I'm looking forward to that, or if they figure out another way to keep another first baseman or sign somebody else. But I definitely want to give Rizzo his flowers because he was such a great player, such a kind person. He's done a lot of great things outside of baseball with his charity. So I applaud him so much for what he's done as a Yankee and outside of being a Yankee and doing so much for his charitable work that, you know, it sucks to see him in this position. And I definitely agree with you, Hector. I want him to have his swan song and to have his final hoorah, whether it is, you know, with the Chicago Cubs or he at least gets his honors throughout the Yankees or even from Chicago.
Yeah, same. I'm in the same boat with you. Again, folks in the chat, if you're enjoying this conversation, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're having a great conversation so far. We got over 260 people rocking out with us. Like I said, we're going to be doing more lives like this now that baseball is finally back. We are here. Baseball is back. Yankees baseball is here. Make sure you guys are following us on TikTok. Make sure you guys are following us on Instagram, on Twitter, all the social media platforms. Make sure you guys click that link, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. Ghost, last thing before we get out of here, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I wish Alex Verdugo and Anthony Rizzo all the best in the world. But Yankee fans, when it comes to this team, let's just enjoy it. I know we could poke the hole and we could get upset and we could get angry at Yankee King's 50 different trade scenarios. Shout out to my guy, Yankee King. The only troll I acknowledge is my brother, Yankee King. But no, I know we could get upset when it comes to Booney and his bullpen. Let's just enjoy this season. I want to be able just to have a season where after the first week, we're not just doom and gloom on the timeline saying this person needs to be fired, that person needs to be traded away. Let's just enjoy what we have right now, right? Let's just take the first month of the season just to enjoy it. After the first month, let's start bitching and complaining after the first month. But for right now, let's just enjoy it. Ghost, my brother, I appreciate you joining us. We will be back this Thursday. Grace will be back this Thursday with me. Make sure you guys are tuning in. Make sure you guys hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you guys are following us on the Tiki Talks on all social media platforms. I'm your guy, Hector.
I'm your guy, Ghost.
This is Yankees Morning Brew. And until next time, deuces. We will see you guys on the flip side. We are out.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.